Alrighty, yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitzmonk TV here, aka G Lauren 33. I am back here tonight with the Legit Shoot podcast, here with your Monday Night Raw review and results for September 28, 2020. Hopefully, you guys can hear me well. I am at work like I usually am, but I do not have my equipment. Well, I do have my equipment, but I forgot the charger for my laptop. So, if I did the review on my laptop, it would probably die halfway through, and you guys know I don't like doing or having interruptions when I'm recording. But hopefully you guys can still hear me well. I know you guys can see me. But yes, welcome back to the podcast. Thank you guys as always for joining me on the podcast tonight. All right, we're gonna be talking about Monday Night Raw, but before we get into anything, if you guys did not see the Clash of Champions podcast, the review from last night, Clash of Champions was a thumbs up show. It wasn't the best show, especially the middle part of it, but we had the triple threat IC title match with Sami Zayn, which was fantastic, one of the best ladder matches I've seen in recent memory. We had Roman Reigns' fantastic storytelling in the match with him and Jimmy Uso for the Universal title. Plus, we had Sasha Banks return and the ambulance match for the WWE Championship. So, even though there were some negatives on the show, all in all, Clash of Champions was a thumbs up show. Sadly, I can't say this, the same thing for Monday Night Raw tonight. Monday Night Raw tonight was not a good show. I did not enjoy it. And like I said, I've been saying this now for over a month now, but we need a draft more than ever. And we talked about this on the podcast yesterday. We do have a draft coming up near the end of the year, or not the end of the year, the end of next week, October 9th to be exact. And I am thinking about it. If you guys are in the chat or watching on demand, leave a like on this video right now if you guys want me to do a class of champion, not class champions, a WWE mock draft. I did this last year and it went kind of well. If you guys want me to do it again, leave a like on the video. Let me know that you guys want to see a mock draft. We'll have all the superstars gathered on the screen, and then I will tell you where I think most of these superstars should go. All right, so that would be sometime probably early next week. But Monday Night Raw tonight was not good. It's just the same old crap. Rematches, rematches, rematches. And one of the things I don't like about WWE is because they think that, by announcing or advertising that, oh, we're doing 2 or 3 title matches, that's going to be what, gets us, a better rating. It doesn't. If the shows are not good, they're not going to get ratings at all. And plus, Monday Night Raw is going up against one of the biggest NFL games of the year tonight. We have the Ravens going up against the Chiefs, arguably the two best teams in the AFC, Super Bowl contenders. So, the fact that they really can't put on a good show, especially when they're going up against Monday Night Football, which is going to destroy the ratings. The ratings are already at all-time lows. And then you have a big NFL game like that, and you put on another same shit show tonight like you usually do. I expect the ratings to be down. I expect a 1.5 rating tomorrow, you know? And, I don't want to say that, but I got to be honest. The ratings and this show in general is not good. It's not good. And we need a draft more than ever. We need a complete refresh for these rosters. And like I said, you need the merge the tag team divisions. You need the refresh the rosters. There's superstars that clearly need to be traded to different brands. And that's the only hope right now I actually have for Monday Night Raw. SmackDown actually is decent. It's not perfect, but what they're doing over there with Sasha and Bailey, Roman Reigns' heel turn, uh, also what they're doing with Sami Zayn, those are stuff that I'm actually invested in. But for the most part, there's like nothing that I'm invested in with Monday Night Raw. It seems like they're continuing the Randy Orton Drew McIntyre story. Looks like that's going to be leading into Hell in a Cell. And like I said, it's not that I'm against the feud. It's just that it makes no sense. I love Drew McIntyre. I love Randy Orton. But, you had Randy Orton lose clean last night. He lost clean at SummerSlam, and then he lost in the ambulance match last night. Even though the legends interfere, there's 2 straight losses. I don't care how great Randy Orton is. It doesn't make sense for him to get another championship opportunity. It doesn't make any sense at all. All right, so it's just crazy. Plus, I'm growing tired of the Thunderdome concept. I'll say this: it's better than being the Performance Center, but dang, and I know WWE wants to go back to live touring, or at least going back to having some kind of live crowd. And I know that Florida is opening up again, but Uh, I've heard a lot of reports about WWE superstars not being on Raw, not being on Clash of Champions because of COVID. There was another COVID case or a small outbreak, and we there's a lot of superstars that are being forced to quarantine as a result. So I know that, but even if we get back to live crowds, that's not going to save the show. Yes, I want live crowds back, but if the shows are not good, the shows are not good. I'm not going to give a shit. I'm not going to care. I'm not gonna care. All right. But we're gonna go over this show tonight. We're gonna talk about it. All right, and we're gonna do our normal thing. If you guys are new to the channel, you guys are here because you guys enjoyed the Clash of Champions review. Welcome for everyone that's here. Normally, you guys know who you are. Thank you guys as always. We have super chats. If you guys want to donate, I don't ask you guys to donate. You guys can do your own thing, but definitely everything that is given to the channel is reinvested into the channel. All right. But thank you guys for everything once again, and let's get into it. All right. So Monday Night Raw tonight. All right, and hello to everybody. I see you guys in the live chat. Good to see you guys as always. But getting into it, let's get into it. So the show started off with Drew McIntyre, and they advertised this on their social media page. They announced that Drew McIntyre would be kicking off Raw with the legends that helped him out last night at Clash of Champions. So we saw Ric Flair, Big Show, and let me know, guys, in the chat. Make sure that you guys can hear me clearly. I know I don't have my mic today, but as long as you guys can hear me and I'm coming out all right, that's all that matters. Just someone let me know in the chat real quick. Anyway, we had Drew McIntyre come out with all the legends: Ric Flair, Big Show, Shawn Michaels, and Christian. And one of the things that pissed me off here is WWE right away insulting our intelligence. I know you guys know I say this all the time. One of the things that bothers me is, if you guys remember, just a couple months ago at WrestleMania, right after Drew McIntyre won the WWE Championship against Brock Lesnar, off screen, which they showed a couple weeks later, they did another match between Drew McIntyre and Big Show. And remember, Big Show, we know he turns heel and turns babyface every day like we breathe. He has 30,000 heel turns in his WWE career. That's legit his gimmick. Being babyface one day and being heel the next. And it's like they're insulting our intelligence here because uh in this match that we saw or what we saw tonight, Drew McIntyre is out here talking about how Big Show was there with him back in the day, when they were on the road together. All this, they used to tell stories, and he looked at Big Show as a mentor. When just a couple months ago, Big Show was a heel, that was trying to take the WWE Championship away from Drew McIntyre. So now it's like you're insulting my intelligence. You want me to forget that these two faced off? Big Show was actually defeated by Drew McIntyre at the early stages of his championship reign, and now all of a sudden they're best friends. They weren't best friends at WrestleMania, so what? Now you expect me to believe that they're best friends now? Like, don't insult my intelligence. Like, Drew McIntyre didn't even mention anything. He didn't mention nothing about his past rivalry with Big Show, the match they had at WrestleMania. Didn't mention at all. They're acting all buddy buddy like they share drinks at a bar, recalling their old tales of the road. Like, I don't like when WWE does that nonsense. I don't. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Any sense whatsoever. I hate when they try to insult your intelligence. So basically, but McIntyre, he was talking about Big Show, talking about, and I see Junior Junior says Flight is going to have a girl. I do know about that. Yeah, on Not So Ever Flight, he's one of the more popular YouTubers. He's having a kid, so that's kind of crazy. But he thanks Shawn Michaels, thank Flair, thank Show, thank Christian, and out of nowhere, Randy Orton shows up on Titantron, and he warned everyone in the ring that they would pay for crossing him before it looked like he left the building. All right. I know there's rumors saying that Randy Orton potentially was being written off TV. No, he's clearly not. All right, this was just a storytelling thing. So just wanted to get that out of the way quickly. But basically, Drew McIntyre being aspired, by all the past champions that were surrounded him. He said he wanted to be known as one of the greatest WWE champions of all time. I will say this: Drew McIntyre has had a decent reign as WWE champion. I do wish his reign got to take place in front of a live crowd because he's become a very popular WWE superstar. But we are in crazy wild times, right? So McIntyre put out an open challenge to anyone in WWE that has not yet fought him for the WWE Championship. And that was the key word. Anybody that he hasn't faced. So clearly, Big Show, all right, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, Bobby Lashley, Dolph Ziggler, Seth Rollins. Those were the names, that were ineligible for this open challenge. So I didn't like this because, especially when you are one of the world champions, I don't like world champions coming out and doing open challenges. I don't. If it's like a US or IC title, yes, because those titles are supposed to be, the workhorse titles. This is a world championship. I don't like when a world champion is out giving free title matches. I don't. I feel like you need to have a contenders list, and you should have, all right, one contender, somebody that is built up and clearly, next in line for the WWE Championship. But we know WWE doesn't work like that. Most weeks is just random triple threat or fatal four way or some stupid crap like that to determine, who's going to be a challenger for a title. WWE needs to get rid of that mindset because it's not good. It's not good whatsoever. But I didn't agree with this, but whatever. All right, the legends would stick around, and they would clearly come into play because they were in some kind of legends lounge, right, backstage playing poker and having drinks. So later in the night, that would come into play clearly. So next up, we had a rematch for the Raw Women's Championship, and we had Asuka versus Lolita Vega. You guys know that I am a big fan. I love Asuka. I think she's the second best women's champion, or the second best women's wrestler in the world, right behind the GOAT Sasha Banks. And by the way, did you guys see what Sasha posted on social media today? She was very active. It's like Sasha in like one day is making up for the last 3 weeks. She wasn't on social media because she was selling the injuries for her story with Bailey, which is one of the many reasons why Sasha is the GOAT. But Sasha's Instagram and her social media has been fire today. She let's go check it out. All right. Anyway, they did show a commercial, so the Sasha and Bailey feud is going to be continuing on SmackDown this week. I cannot wait to see what happens with that. But getting back into it, Oscar versus Selena Vega. You guys know that I love Selena Vega. I love Oscar. But I also said last week, or I've been, it doesn't make any sense for Selena Vega to be getting this opportunity. It makes no sense whatsoever because she wasn't built up for it. You had Bianca Belair in a EST segment. They're doing these little segments where she shows how she's the EST of something. Last week they had her like in a gym out lifting somebody. Tonight they had Bianca on a track, outrunning some poor fools. And it's not like I don't hate these segments because it gives you more of an introduction to Bianca's character. But honestly, this should have been done already. You should have done these things with Bianca's character back in April, back in May, when she was first getting introduced on Monday Night Raw, when she was first on the show. Why are you doing this, 6, 7 months later? We should already know who Bianca is. She should already be well established, and she should be in contention for the Raw Women's Championship. I like Selena Vega. She's great in the ring. I love her character, and I feel like one day Selena could possibly be a women's champion. Not now, but maybe in the future. All right. But it doesn't make sense that Zelina, who was just a manager a couple weeks ago, is now fighting for the Raw Women's Championship a couple weeks later. When before, just a couple months ago, she was losing in 5 minutes in squash matches to Bianca Belair, who's not even being featured on WWE TV. Bianca should be the one just to be positioned to go up against Asuka. Because we know that Shayna Baszler is in a tag team with Nia Jax. I still don't have any information on that. I believe there was some positive there was a COVID outbreak, and those superstars that did not appear on Clash of Champions, plus Retribution. The reason they weren't on the show is because WWE put them in quarantine just to be careful because they had close contact with the superstar that got COVID. I don't know who it is, right? But it's WWE just trying to keep these superstars safe. All right, so that's the news I got on that. But we did get the rematch tonight. But the thing about it is, even though this match was good and it was probably a little bit better than the match from Clash of Champions, the match that we got last night at Clash of Champions more just felt like Asuka was trying too hard to sell for Zelina Vega to make Zelina look good, even though Zelina did her thing. But this match, felt a little bit more organic. The only thing is, it was kind of obvious. You knew that Zelina was not going to win. And even though, maybe one day Zelina will get her moment, but Selena tapped out to the Oscar lock for a second straight night. So that clearly ends this little 2 week Zelina Oscar feud. I hope Zelina stays in the singles division. I don't want her. Even though she's great as a manager, she's actually really talented. So I would like to see Zelina continue to wrestle singles, and then maybe one day she could become champion. Maybe you pair Zelina with somebody and you put her in the tag team division. I wouldn't mind that. That might be perfect for her. I don't know who you would put her with. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's Lena Vega and Naomi. I feel like that would be a pretty cool team, something like that. But we'll just have to wait and see. But definitely, I do have high hopes for Selena Vega's future. I really do. All right. Uh, after the match, we saw Andrade come out and basically he told Zelina Vega, you lost to Oscar twice. You are nothing without me. Kind of similar to what Sasha said to Bailey in her epic promo a couple weeks ago on SmackDown. Um, but Zelina walked away, wanting nothing to do with Andrade. Garza was not on the show tonight. Uh, the way WWE explained is Garza had an injury that he suffered from Clash of Champions, so whatever. And Andrade blamed the injury on Zelina Vega, even though that didn't make any sense, really. Didn't make any sense because Zelina had nothing to do with the match. All right. Joe, you at work, Brody? Yes, I do the Monday Night Raw review at work almost every Monday. All right, you should know this. Anyway, but following Andrade's little rant on Zelina Vega, Andrade issued an open challenge. Keith Lee answered and went after Andrade right away. This was not a bad match. It was kind of short. It was only about 5-6 minutes. These two could have easily gone in there 10 to 15. In NXT, this was a match that took place on an NXT Takeover. It would have gone 20 to 25 minutes. We know how great Andrade and Keith Lee are. But Keith Lee won the match with the Spirit Bomb. So basically, that was the story there. So Keith Lee gets a win here by knocking out Andrade. I thought the match could have gone a little bit longer, but all in all, Keith Lee gets the win. This is what you should be doing with Keith Lee instead of putting him in pointless scuffles for the WWE Championship, right? Putting him right between the Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton storyline and not giving him a clear cut direction. We know Keith Lee is a main event star, and he'll eventually will be contending for the WWE Championship. This is what you should be doing. You need to be building him up, giving him victories. That's how you build challengers. We know Keith Lee is a WWE Championship contender, but WWE doesn't ever make their superstars come off like that. Have somebody get wins every single week. Keith Lee beat Andrade tonight. Next week, go up against Angel Garza. Week after that, go up against Bobby Roode, who came back tonight. Go up against Dolph Ziggler. Pick up victory after victory after victory. That's how you build legit challengers. You want us to care about Keith Lee? You want us to care about these NXT superstars? This is what you do. You build them up. You have them win. You have them build consistency. That's how you get us invested in these characters. And then when it comes time for them to challenge for championships, we're actually going to care because they're going to have momentum behind them. Instead of doing a random triple threat or a random fatal four-way, have Keith Lee pick up a bunch of wins, all right? And then we can be like, okay, Keith Lee's been on a winning streak. He has a lot of momentum behind him. Maybe he should be the next challenger for a Drew McIntyre or a Bobby Lashley or something like that. Instead of doing something so random that's not going to get the job done. That's the thing about these casual fucks. They'll see a fatal four way to determine the number one contender, and then they'll be like, oh, that was great. That's how you get a contender. No, this is how you get a contender. You have Keith Lee pick up victory after victory after victory, and then in our heads, we can come up with like a ranking system that should help us determine who should be in line for championship matches. It's really that simple at the end of the day. And if you don't understand that concept, that's the reason why you should be listening to this podcast because I am here to educate people like you. We are all here to get smarter together. All right. So I just had to go on that little analytical rant right there. But anyway, we go on from that to something that I'm sick and tired of. Seth Rollins and had a segment. We had the King's Court. We had the King's Court with the Mysterio family. All right. And before that, we saw Seth Rollins stole Buddy Murphy's phone before the King's Court. And, Jerry, the King Lawler invited the Mysterio family out to the ring. And Alea tried to play coy. And I read that they don't want Alea to be a wrestler. She's more there just to be an actress. So whatever. I actually think Alea is very beautiful, very beautiful. I was making the joke on my Discord server, basically that if Alea is 19, we all know Jerry the King Lawler's gimmick. So Jerry the King Lawler was in there with Alea tonight. Jerry was like, "If you're 19, I'm 19 too." All right, LOL. But Alea was still, she was not over what Ray said about her, how her parents called her naive, and how she's only a 19-year-old girl. Out of nowhere, Alea tried to, come off as saying that Murphy was not the problem. Murphy was not the same as Seth Rollins. I don't know. I want to believe this is setting up for a Buddy Murphy face turn, which I'm not against, but clearly that looks like it is because we know Seth Rollins is going to be written off TV eventually. I can definitely see him leaving WWE after Hell in a Cell, if not after Survivor Series, because Becky is actually due. It's crazy how fast time flies. But Becky is due in less than 2 months, and not 2 months, but a little over 2 months. In a little over 2 months, Becky will be having her child. So it's crazy that this was announced in May, and here we are now, and she's very close to having her child. Crazy how fast time goes by, right? But yeah, but basically, Seth Rollins showed a screenshot of text messages between Buddy Murphy and Alea. Basically, Alea apologizing to Buddy Murphy for what happened last week, and then Alea also saying happy birthday to Buddy Murphy. I was thinking, like, how did me being the logical thinker that I am? I was thinking, like, how did Seth get those screenshots on the screen so fast? Did he have WWE's production truck on speed dial? I don't know, but that's just me always thinking because I'm always overthinking things, and I'm trying to see things from the ultimate perspective. Because people in like the casual fucks in the community don't think like me, and that's one of the problems with the IWC. Like I said, I might call myself this if Roman Reigns is the tribal chief of WWE, if he's the king of the island, I am the tribal chief of the IWC. All right, I love JD from NY. I know he gets like 40,000 views on all his videos, man. But everyone knows when it comes to being the most all-around knowledgeable guy in the community, podcaster, it's this guy right here. All right, it's this guy, and everyone that watches me knows that. All right. Anyway, so yeah, call me the tribal chief of the IWC. Anyway, just having some fun there. We saw Alea. She stormed off before Rey Mysterio could stop her, and basically we saw Buddy Murphy. He saw what Seth was doing and he got pretty angry. He actually, took his hands up to Rollins' throat, and Rollins said, "Oh, you don't blame me for your own actions, all right." But out of nowhere, Dominic came backstage and he attacked Murphy. He didn't attack Seth because Seth was just showcasing what was on Murphy's phone. It wasn't Seth's phone, all right. But Dominic attacked Murphy, setting up a match for later. So just to get it out of the way, later on in the night, we did get Buddy Murphy versus Dominic. Nothing too special here. It was an okay match. Nothing that it's gonna strike hearts. All right, yeah, I'm just making this quick call right here. But nothing special here. The story was near the end of the match. So basically, what happened here near the end, when it looked like Dominic had things under control, we saw Dominic go under the ring and grab a kendo stick. He grabbed a kendo stick, and it looked like he was very angry for what happened earlier, and he wanted to make Murphy pay for texting his sister. So, but then before he could do it, Alea came out, and Alea tried to stop Dominic, saying that he was not the problem. It wasn't Murphy, it was Seth. He's the bigger problem here. Dominic got very frustrated with his younger sister, saying, "Don't you get it? He's part of the reason why our family has been getting tortured. You need to go back now." Dominic was yelling very harshly at Alea. Alea got very annoyed and actually slapped Dominic in his face. This allowed Murphy to escape Dominic and the kendo stick. And yeah, Alea kept blocking Dominic from getting the Murphy as Murphy escaped to the backstage area. So it's gonna be interesting to see. It looks like I don't know. It looks like WWE is teasing some kind of romantic relationship. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens. I'm not a big fan of this program, but I don't mind what they're doing with Alea. All right, it's something a little bit different. All right, and it'll be interesting to see where they go with this. I'm not really interested in the whole Seth Rollins, Rey Mysterio dynamic anymore, but I don't mind what they're doing here with Alea Murphy and Dominic. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes. This could end up in some kind of romantic thing. We'll just have to wait and see. So that's my thoughts on that. But clearly, eventually, Murphy's going to end up turning on Seth Rollins. And I think it'll be Buddy Murphy that writes Seth Rollins off TV when he turns babyface and turns on Seth, getting frustrated with Seth's bullying and constant, evil maneuvers. All right. Next up, we had Lana and Natalya coming out. They demanded a women's tag team championship opportunity. I don't mind Lana and Natalya being the tag team division because it keeps them away from the singles division because Lana is garbage and who the hell cares about anything that Natalya does? I just don't care. She's not interesting. And I don't give a shit. I know you guys don't give a shit. So we're all happy at the end of the day, right? So Lana and Natalya, they come out asking for a one tag team title shot. You need teams in the tag team division in general. You guys know I'm gonna keep saying this. The WWE draft, you need to merge the tag team divisions. That's the only big request I had for the draft, along with refreshing the rosters. So that is a must. That's a must do for WWE. But uh, Lana and Natalya, after demanding their title shot, Adam Pearce came out and announced that the two would the dude was anyway. Never mind. I read something wrong. Bleacher Report messed up. There was a huge typo in the Bleacher Report notes, but Adam Pearce told the two that the titles would not be vacated, but the team could earn a future shot by facing the newest members of Raw. So, like I said, Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke came out. Not that I care, not that I care, but what doesn't make sense. I'm just trying to look at this from a logical perspective. Uh, it makes no sense for this match to be taking place because the WWE draft is legit less than a week away. The draft is next week, next Friday on SmackDown to be exact. So why couldn't WWE just wait a week to have Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, move to Monday Night Raw? Because, like I said, everybody's going to get drafted. It's not a superstar shakeup, it's a draft. So, what if Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke end up right back on SmackDown next week? How stupid is that going to look? And the thing is, I could easily see WWE doing that because most of the time, 99.9% of the time, they're not thinking logically. All right. It's not that I cared about this match. Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, I guess they're a team now. I don't know. I don't mind them being in the tag team division either. But the thing about it is, it kind of sucks for Mandy Rose. You turned her baby face. She had a good thing going with Otis. And then you moved her to the Monday Night Raw for no real reason. Before the draft, mind you. Maybe Otis and maybe Otis and Tucker get moved to Money in that Raw so they can continue that romance story. I would kind of like that, but Mandy Rose actually had momentum, and she had a big win. Her and Sonya Deville had a pretty good match at SummerSlam. But the fact that WWE hasn't capitalized on that momentum and done something with her kind of sucks. Yes, she got the win here, but I don't care about Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke being a team. I don't mind them being a team because you need teams in the women's tag team division, but I just don't care. All right, so I don't know, but I guess Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke are a team now. They warned, they got interviewed by Charlie Caruso afterwards and warned the women's tag team champions that her and Brooke were after the gold. So we'll see what happens with that. Like I said, I don't mind them being a team, and at least now you actually have some more teams in the women's tag team division. I still think you need a couple more, but uh, I don't know. You got Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke together now. You got Natalya and Lana. You got Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, the champions, and you have the Riot Squad. All right. Like I said, I still think you should have maybe two or three more teams in there, and then you have to have like a decent division. But we'll see. We'll see. All right. All right. Next up, this was one of the things that got me really pissed off. Really pissed off. All right. we had Alistair Black versus Kevin Owens. This is the third time we've gotten the match in the last month. You guys remember we got it on Raw Underground a couple weeks back, which was interesting. There was no Raw Underground tonight. So I don't know. Maybe this is WWE finally getting rid of it. I doubt it. I won the bet it will be next week, but there was no Raw Underground tonight. Not that I missed it or anything, but that's just something, I think that should be noted, of course. But Aleister Black versus Kevin Owens, we saw that Raw Underground a couple of weeks ago, which didn't make any sense, especially the way it ended. Then we had Aleister Black versus KO again about 2 weeks ago. KO got a clean victory, which should have ended the feud. But then last week, we got Aleister Black attacking KO on the KO show. So this set up a rematch tonight. And before the match, Aleister Black was in a black room and he called Kevin Owens a sham, for creating a false image that he was a good person. And he promised to make KO pay for his role in Black injury. So Aleister Black, blames, KO partially for him getting injured by Seth Rollins because, KO promised to have Aleister's back, even though I never knew that KO and Aleister Black had that kind of relationship, but whatever. Plus, they've completely ruined Aleister Black. It is absolutely pathetic and sad. Aleister Black had one of the easiest gimmicks, and should have been a main roster star. He should be in main events contending for, WWE and Universal Championships. The fact that he hasn't even won a championship on the main roster, it's sad. Very, very sad. And now, they've made some big changes to his gimmick. They turned him heel. This seeing Aleister Black back in NXT the way he is now, I can't believe what they've done with him. Aleister Black now, he's heel, which had never been done. He's wearing a bandana, all right? Plus, now instead of wearing tights, he wears, long leather pants. And now probably now he's wearing fake black contact, which I guess is supposed to be him selling the injury that Seth Rollins gave him months ago, even though no one gives a shit about it now. And then lastly, and the worst part, they changed Aleister Black's music. You guys see me bitch and moan about how Keith Lee needs his old theme song back. Aleister Black, man, they gave him now some new heavy metal theme song, and it's terrible. I know WWE has changes with the whole CFO. CFO is no longer with WWE, but it's just bad. It just seems like every week with the changes they're making to some of these theme songs, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Alistair Beck and Keith Lee, man, had two of the best theme songs in the entire company, and now they got generic shit. That's absolutely terrible, and I hate it, bro. I really do. So the two had a decent match. The match wasn't bad. It's KO and Aleister Black, but basically what happened is Black got into an argument with referee Drake Younger when he accidentally elbowed him when he was teeing off on KO. This caused a DQ. So KO won the match via DQ, and while Aleister was arguing the decision with the referee, he got hit with a stutter. So Aleister Black's heel turn is going well, right? You changed everything that made him great, right? You gave him fake contacts. You changed his theme song. Uh, Now he's wrestling with black leather pants. It's just absolutely pathetic what they've done with his character. Absolutely ridiculous. And even KO, KO, I know there's been reports of him not being happy with the way he's been portrayed on WWE TV, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him. He should not be being booked like this. KO in the WWE draft, he needs to be moved to SmackDown. Imagine KO going up against Tribal Chief Roman Reigns. Or imagine, KO going up against his former best friend, Sami Zayn. Like, there are some matches, maybe KO versus The Fiend. Like, there are matches on SmackDown that I would really like to see KO in. And I think they would definitely make him happy because KO is a main event guy and he needs to get back to his level. I want to see KO the prize fighter return. I don't think KO needs to turn heel or anything, but he needs to be booked better. He should be one of the top baby faces of the company. And the fact that, he's just another guy on this show is ridiculous. All right. So I would have KO move to SmackDown in the draft. For the 24/7 championship, we had R-Truth versus Akira Tozawa versus Drew Gulak. Earlier in the night, R-Truth was playing chess with NBA YouTube says Vince said he's not high on Black. Yeah, I noticed. And that doesn't tell you how out of touch Vince McMahon is. I don't know what to tell you. There is no way in hell anybody should not be high on Alistair Black. The guy is legit a main event player. That's simple. He's a main event star. I don't know how you fuck up on somebody. That's simple. Really, man. It's just sad. It really is sad. We had for the 24/7 championship, we had R-Truth versus Akira Tozawa versus Drew Gulak. Earlier on in the night, we had R-Truth. He was playing chess with little Jimmy. The fact that they still have that gimmick going, that's a gimmick that's been going on for nearly a decade now. But earlier in the night, Drew Gulak, who was dressed as a ninja, helped Akira Tozawa win the 24/7 championship. And then right afterwards, he revealed himself to be a ninja and then pinned Tozawa to become 24/7 champion. And then right after that, R-Truth pinned Gulak to become our 24/7 champion once again. So you legit had 3 different 24/7 champions in the span of a minute. That don't no one gives us a shit, right? So later on the night, we had a triple threat match between the same 3 men, all right? And the match wasn't terrible or anything. It's just who gives a crap about the 24/7 title? Nobody. All right, but Truth took out both men. He actually stole a move from his hero John Cena. He won with the attitude adjustment. All right, so that was kind of funny. I love R-Truth. I just hate the 24/7 title. It's just that simple. All right, just that simple. And it sucks that Gulak. It's like every single cruiserweight now, bro. Any cruiserweight that's on the main roster is just another casualty of there's another casualty of the 24/7 title, and I'm not a fan of it at all, bro. Moving on, we had the Hurt Business versus Apollo Crews, Ricochet, and Mustafa Ali, and I'm looking at it, bro. We're only about 35 minutes into the podcast, and we're almost done. This is usually the Raw reviews don't usually go by this fast, but this shows you, even without Raw Underground, bro, there's just nothing interesting on this show. Nothing interesting. This is going to be one of the, shortest Raw podcasts ever. But the Hurt Business versus Apollo Crews versus Ricochet and Ali. This was set up. Ali, I guess he was in the Hurt Business locker room or something. I don't really know, but he crossed paths with the rest of the Hurt Business in the hallway, and then Ricochet and Cruz had his back, setting up this 6-man tag. And then Ricochet said, "We'll be seeing you guys real soon." Bro, we've been seeing this for the last 5 months since WrestleMania. How many times have we seen the Hurt Business versus either Cruz, Ricochet, Ali? Back when Cedric Alexander was with the group, like we've seen this match how many times? That's what I hate about Raw, bro. It says rematch after rematch after rematch. This is why we need a draft in the worst way. Because this is ridiculous. All right, yes, I'm happy that Ali is on Raw and he's not on main event, but I don't want to see him in the same exact match every single week. Every single week he's in the same ridiculous match, and it's not enjoyable. It's not enjoyable at all. Maybe we see Ali versus Lashley for the United States Championship, but still, bro, I don't like how we're getting the same 6-man tag every single week. It's nothing different. There's nothing that these men are going to do that we haven't seen them do already. They're all talented, but maybe outside of MVP, they're all talented guys that can give us great matches, but we've seen this for the last 5 months. It's just like, watching the Street Profits versus Garza and Andrade, or, seeing KO versus Alistair Black, or seeing, Dominic versus Buddy Murphy, or Ray versus Seth Rollins. It's just rinse and repeat. Thank God we're getting a draft next week. I just hope they really do refresh these rosters. And like I said, guys, leave a like on the video if you guys want me to do a mock WWE draft sometime next week. All right, that lets me know that you guys want to see it. But we saw basically they started brawling before the match. All of a sudden, the lights started blinking, saying it looked like Retribution was making an appearance. But I read earlier in the day that most of the Retribution members were not going to be at Raw because they would be they were all in quarantine because they had close contact with one of the superstars that tested positive for COVID-19. So, that's a precaution. They want to keep everybody safe. Um, But MVP told Cruz that this had to end because he would never stop to hurt business or take the United States Championship from Bobby Lashley. And all of a sudden, Ollie hit a tornado DDT into a 450 splash for the win over MVP. Hopefully, maybe this does lead to Ollie versus Bobby Lashley for the U.S. Championship. That's actually something I could get behind. I'm just tired of the six-man tag matches every single week. Like, how much do you want to bet we'll probably get Ollie versus either Cedric Alexander, even though I would like to see that match, but how much you want to bet we'll probably get Ollie versus Alexander or Benjamin or MVP next week? The way that he does these things are so ridiculous. I'm so happy that we're getting a draft, man, because these rosters need a refresh in the worst way. And just like that, guys, we are at the main event. I'm very surprised for how quickly we've already gotten through the show tonight. This show wasn't good, but like I said, I guess when Sasha Banks is on the show, I don't talk as long, right? But anyway, uh, we had Drew McIntyre's open challenge, and I didn't really know who it was gonna be since they said it was gonna be somebody that Drew had not faced yet for the title. And clearly, we saw Keith Lee earlier in the night, and it wasn't gonna be Andrade. So I was potentially thinking maybe Adam Cole. Maybe we get a shock, get a shock to the system, literally, because I do feel like Adam Cole is going to get called up because the draft, NXT superstars are eligible to be called up in the draft. So definitely, I think somebody like Adam Cole will be called up, and probably the Undisputed Era as well. But we'll talk about that most likely next week. But Drew McIntyre waited for his opponent, and it looked like it was going to be Dolph Ziggler. But at first, I was like, really, really, Dolph Ziggler. But we've already seen that match. How many times, and I've already stated that Dolph Ziggler should never get another WWE Championship opportunity for the rest of his career after what happened at the horror show Extreme Rules. But by the said of Dolph Ziggler, Ziggler came out in a suit. His challenger was not Dolph Ziggler, but it was the returning Robert Roode, Ziggler's tag team partner. And I'm happy, because these two are actually a pretty good tag team. You can definitely put them in the tag team division, maybe have them go up against the Street Profits. Like I said, WWE needs tag teams more than ever, so I don't mind Robert Roode and uh, uh, Ziggler being a team again. But I'm not gonna lie, even though Roode hasn't been booked correctly since being on the main roster, it felt kind of good to hear that theme song again. Glorious. Say I won't give in till I'm victorious, and I will defend. Like I love that theme song. Anyway, Robert Roode came out. He had a nice little mullet growing, clearly growing that during quarantine. He looked in very good state. This was a very, very good match. Like, you guys forget how good Robert Roode is. Let's go watch some of his NXT matches against, like Shinsuke Nakamura and individuals like that. We know that Robert Roode is great at what he does. And Drew McIntyre, you know, uh, undisputed. So it's good to see Rude back, and this was a good match. This was old school. All right, and this was better than most of the matches we saw at Clash of Champions. And it's good. It's another successful defense on Drew McIntyre. We saw Rudy actually hit the glorious DDT. McIntyre kicked out at 2.5, and then he hit the Claymore kick. All right, to win the match. And we knew, with the Legends Lounge, with the Legends playing poker backstage, we knew something wacky was going to happen. But what happened is the way they did it was kind of creative, and I'll give WWE a little bit of credit. So basically, they had a janitor after the match. As Drew McIntyre was celebrating his title victory, they had a janitor, walking through the Thunderdome. And I knew it was Randy Orton right away. It just looked like him. That nose, Randy Orton's nose is pretty big and floppy, so I could tell right away it was him. He was wearing a mask and a hood, but he was able to sneak into the Legends Lounge. And what was kind of cool is Randy Orton pulling his best Green Lantern impression, and basically put on these night goggles on, and then turned the lights off. on the Legends. So basically, he did reveal himself to the Legends beforehand, but he was the only one that could see in the dark with the night goggles. And then he destroyed Flair, Show, Michaels, and Christian with chair shots, getting revenge on the Legends who interfered and kept him from winning the WWE Championship last night. All right, so it was a little bit different. All right, I'll give WWE credit, and it was kind of cool. Afterwards, Randy Orton came out of the room and he put back his mask and hood on, so people would recognize him. And then he pointed a bunch of officials and superstars who saw the attack on the big screens. Uh, all right, so you know, and Kevin Abreu says James Storms is about to return to WWE. Uh, Look, James Storms is a great wrestler, but will he be booked correctly? Like, it's hard for me to get hyped about WWE returns if they're not booked correctly. So let's see how he's booked before talking about, uh, his big return. Just look at John Morrison as a prime example of that. But either way, it was a cool way to end the show. The Dolph Ziggler, or not the Dolph Ziggler, the Robert Roode and Drew McIntyre match was good, and the Rainier attack was great. But clearly it looks like we're probably gonna get another match between Orton and McIntyre at Hell in a Cell. And it doesn't make sense. As much as I love these two men and they put on great matches, it doesn't make sense. And I gotta be objective about it. But all in all, no Raw Underground, that was a thumbs up. But all in all, this wasn't a really good show. Even though Clash Champions was a decent pay per view in itself, Monday Night Raw still is not a good show. I'm tired of the rematches, and I know you guys are as well. If WWE wants to, get better, they really, and when I mean this, they really, really, really need to take a good look in the mirror. When going to this WWE draft. They have to focus on refreshing these rosters, especially for Raw. SmackDown, for the most part, yes, you got to add some talent to SmackDown because I feel like they do need some more main event players. But SmackDown is in a decent spot. You have Sasha and Bailey. You have Roman doing his thing with his heel turn, which has been great. You have Sami Zayn, doing his thing as well. I feel like you just got to refresh SmackDown with some more challengers, and they'll be fine going to WrestleMania season or Survivor Series, and beyond it to WrestleMania season in 2021. With Raw, you need to refresh everything on that show, bro. Everything. I understand it's a 3-hour show, but the rinse and repeat garbage has got to go. Has got to go, man. And I'm gonna keep saying this until next week. The biggest thing that needs to happen with WWE going into the draft is the merging of the tag team divisions. All right, the Street Profits, they didn't do anything on the show tonight. The only appearance that we got from the Street Profits tonight, they were in the Legends line hanging out with Show, Kristen, Michaels, and Flair for a little bit while they were playing poker. That was about it. That was about it. Yes, maybe you can do something with like Robert Roode and maybe Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. You can build them up as challengers for the Street Profits. Maybe Undisputed Era gets called up. There are ways to fix the tag team division. But what I would do, go in the Hell in a Cell, I would merge the tag team divisions, merge the Raw and SmackDown titles, and then just have one team carry all the gold. I don't know. I don't think you need like one more championship, right? I don't think you need one like red and blue championship because I could definitely see WWE doing something wacky like that. It's inside their agenda, but at the end of the day, I think the best thing would be just that have just one champion. You could have both sets of titles, but just one champion. At the end of the day, you really need to merge the tag team divisions. All right, that would be the thing that I would look into going into the draft. But all in all, man, Raw was just rinse and repeat garbage as usual. Not very, not much positives. Not much positives. But that's about all I got for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for joining me right here on the Legit Shoot podcast. As always, if you guys enjoyed the podcast, leave a like on the video because it allows us to educate other casuals in the community. I am the tribal chief. I'm calling myself that now. If Roman Reigns is the king of the island, I am the tribal chief of the IWC. C. All right, let's get that going. If you guys missed the Clash of Champions review, it is live on the channel. It's a banger as always, so make sure to go check that out. Also, guys, follow me on social media. Thank to everyone who live tweeted with me this weekend about Clash of Champions, about anything, about Raw. So, guys, follow me on social media if you guys want to talk to me about anything like that. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscription button, enable notifications by clicking the bell next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. I'm gonna get out of here. You guys stay safe and healthy. I'll see y'all later. Peace.